special good morning to all listeners, those of you via Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9. Good Thursday morning to you. Let's say good morning also to our viewers, those of you via GBN TV, whether it's Channel 7, Channel 11, or Channel 20. Good morning and welcome to another edition of To The Point. I'm your host, the GT. I'll be around with you till it's 10 a.m. this morning. And it's Thursday. Usually on Thursdays, we do entertain various departments within the Royal Grenada Police Force. And this morning, we do have the Traffic Department. With me this morning, we have Inspector Ryan Smith with us this morning and Corporal Troy Paul. Let me go over and say good morning to the officers. Good morning and welcome to The Point. Again, second time around for Corporal Paul. This morning, second time around for you for the week, I would say.
Yes, yeah. That's the second time.
Becoming a regular now on GBN anyway.
Good morning again to all the listeners, both local and diaspora.
Yeah. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, Inspector Ryan. Good morning once again.
Yes,
also,
pleasant morning to you, JT. It's a pleasure always being here, and pleasant morning to the viewing and listening public.
All right. Our conversation this morning we base a lot on road safety. For the last couple of months, road safety has always been spoken about on all terms. You understand, because of the accidents, how road individuals use the roads and so forth. So we're going to spend a bit of a time this morning talking about that. A lot of emphasis will be spending on, of course, on pedestrians, how they use the roads, drivers, what they should and should be focused on. We know the traffic lights and so forth are out now. I'm assuming that there will be some information you want to pass on to our viewers and listeners, drivers alike who are road users. So where we want to kick the conversation off this morning?
Well, first of all, we just want to bring to the public attention the Yuletide operation.
Yes.
Of the Traffic Department, which will start from the 1st of November and run all the way on to New Year's Day.
Yes.
During those operations, the Traffic Department will intensify the mobile patrol. They will increase the mobile patrol. Also, in terms of the different times of foot patrol and so on, you'll have increased numbers. Officers will be placed at different choke points to ensure that the traffic is regulated properly. Also, we'll have sensitization programs like this to enlighten the public and what is actually taking place. We'll also increase our radar checks. All right. We'll also have static duty on the eve of the eve and also Christmas Eve. We'll also have checkpoints and Old Year's night and so on at different locations. So we will intensify our approach in terms of traffic management around them time during the Yuletide operation.
All right. Folks would say November. It's pretty early to start. You understand, talking about traffic arrangement for the Utah season. I mean, if you're getting my drift where I'm going at.
Yes, well, it's always better early than late. It's always better early than late, and it puts people in the mood that the police is out there.
All right.
At an early stage, so it's more of a deterrent in terms of persons committing offense and being unsafe on our roads.
All right. I agree with that for in that particular terminology of having folks, being on the alert. We would not have folks, driving at ridiculous speeds, and so forth, which would cause them not to do anything that will cause them to, run into problems with the law.
Yes.
All right. Corporal Paul, anything you want to say on the Utah season operations? You always we want that, of course. Any more details you want to share now before we get into more of the conversation this morning?
Yes. The general public must be aware that the police will heighten its operation around the Yuletide season. And it's not first time. It's customary that it happens every year around that time. You would see police will be out in the numbers. Do it be traffic check day, night, as the inspector alluded to. We have radar checks, motorcycle patrol. Expect the police to be out there to heighten its operations. You will see more police on the streets. You will see them along the urban areas doing checks, radar checks, and the purpose of those is to ensure that our roads remain safe, because we know what happens during those the seasons, those festive seasons.
Yes.
And we're seeing a lot of trends and a lot of behaviors from drivers, and we have to curb some of those. And our presence out there will definitely has created deterrence to those. But generally, expect police presence. So if you're being stopped at any point in time during a road check or traffic check, as we stated, we're doing our due diligence to our country, and we're not harassing any individual out there, because at the end of the day, that is the only how we will curb, especially persons driving without driver's license and any offense under the Road Traffic Act regulation or laws of Grenada, as we out there checking once we detect them.
All right, great. Let's get into a little bit of a conversation about the road safety practices. Who's going to take up that mantle?
Yes. So it has been important for the traffic department, that I've stated earlier, to sensitize the public on road safety awareness.
Yeah. And
it's not a Yuletide operation something. It's right through the year we will sensitize on road safety practices, because as I stated, we want to make our roads safe for all road users, whether it be drivers, pedestrians, going down as cyclists, persons using the road network on a daily basis. It is our obligations to make our roads safe for them. Right. And therefore, as you stated earlier on, we have a number of accidents reporting on a daily basis, and our responsibility again is to sensitize the public so that they will be aware of what they should and shouldn't do. Although when they're going for a license, there's a lot of things that they support or they were taught as to do practices, but you see most of the times when they obtain their license, most of these things go out the door. Yeah. So we have to remind them more often as to what they should and shouldn't do, so that it will stay in them and be a part of them as drivers and pedestrians. And to begin with, what I want to employ on all drivers, sometimes we get up, we jump in our vehicle, and we just drive.
Yes.
We want this thing to get out the door. Before you move that particular vehicle, especially because most of the times our journey starts on morning time, get up, if you have to get up 10-15 minutes earlier, or take that time off to check your vehicle. Check the entire vehicle. Just as you check to make sure that you have gas for your journey, check your vehicle, make sure that your oil, brakes, fluid is topped up, make sure that your coolant, etc. Check your tires, check your lights, even those at the rear, have somebody look at it while you're in the vehicle. Do a general check before you leave home. That is important. That is important before you start to drive.
Yes. Because
we know vehicles malfunction at times, or if we do not properly maintain them, what can happen.
Yep.
So we the checking, that's the first stage of driving. After you get into that vehicle to leave, check your seat. Make sure that your seat belt is installed.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. So then you won't have any dealings with that. You're carrying on your journey, as we normally tell persons, make sure that the mobile device is not in your hand, or you're using it while you're driving. This is a major distraction. And not just persons might say it's only the mobile device, but we also have other distractions, because I always say driving requires a level of focus. And a lot of persons think that they can multitask while driving. Some might be eating, drinking, and for whatever reason, they're doing all other things except focus on driving.
Yes.
Remember, while you're on the road, you have to look out for traffic signs, signals. Other persons using the road network. You do not drive for yourself alone, but you have to drive for others. So you must be observant. But the cell phone we're seeing to be very prevalent at this time. And under Section 77, B1 and B2, it is an offense under the Road Traffic Act. And one can be charged for using the mobile device, or having it, or holding it, or using it in their hand.
All right.
Yes, and we're seeing a number of persons being charged for that, and even a number of matters going to court for that said offense.
All right.
And something we're seeing, especially because normally you have to drive at night as well. So you must ensure that your lights, whether it be your headlamps, your brake lights, your number plate lights, your indicator light,
Or should
they are
be
all working.
All working.
So therefore, your journey at night will be an easy one. As I said, not only for you, because you need your headlamps to see where you're going and to guide your path on your journey, but also those at the back or the rear for drivers behind you to indicate your presence on the road, and if you have to make any signal left, right, so they will know and take the necessary action. Maybe. Another thing we see happening, as we mentioned, the Yuletide season, and we know it is a festive time again, and one of the tradition is drinking wine, and I just want to mention the drinking part.
Yes.
But and we know that drinking while driving or being under the influence of alcohol is a serious concern for law enforcement, and it is an offense once you're above the required limit, which is 70 micrograms of alcohol in 100 milliliters of breath. And that offense is constituted what we call driving under the influence of alcohol or even drugs, if you consume any illegal drugs and it can be found or detected in your system. But I just want to make to stick a little more on the alcohol part, because we know what alcohol can do for one to one's body. Firstly, it impairs one's judgment.
Yes.
Your reaction time. You get blurry vision, and I can go on and on. But sometimes a lot of persons might think, I can take one and I'll be okay. I can take or I'm accustomed to. But alcohol plays differently on the body based on a lot of things, such as your body mass, your water intake, your diet, etc. And tolerance, one's tolerance as well. But more so, we want persons to get out of the habit that if I have to drive, that I should not drink, period. But if you do, we definitely have a limit, which, as I stated, is 70 micrograms of alcohol, because you don't want to be caught that an accident occur and we visit an accident scene, you're smelling alcohol, you're subjected. Well, one of the ways that we subject persons are the first thing is smell.
Yes. Because
alcohol have a stench. And then you might be talking to them, their speech are slurred. You might ask them to do a quick sobriety test, and they cannot, no coordination. So you subject them to a breathalyzer test. And then here and behold, you might be over the speed limit. But even if you're not over the limit, sometimes 50% would affect you differently to how it affects me. 50% might throw you off your entire game.
Yes.
Whereas 50% will do nothing to me. But we have a legal limit, which is 70, and once you're over that, you will be arrested and charged, because this is serious business for the traffic department and also law enforcement of Grenada. That one of the offenses that we're trying to curb, because we know the outcome of somebody being under the influence of alcohol and you end up in an accident. Most of the time, these end up tragic. And the outcome, likelihood outcome, we seeing road fatality or fatalities.
All right.
And we do not want any more of that statistic to be on our calendar for the year 2023.
All right, great. Certainly, that was a lot of information shared. Inspector Ryan, I'm not sure if there's anything you want to add. I know he, of course, already did say a whole lot, but I'm not sure if there's anything you want to add in terms of the road safety practices.
I would just like to speak on the issue of the traffic lights that are functioning now. As of the 21st of October, traffic lights were turned on in the areas of Paradise Bridge in St. Andrews, Bowler Junction, Grenville, Grand Dance, that is in the food fair area, Belmont, and within the tongue of St. George's. The RGPF are in the monitoring and testing phase at the moment.
Yes.
That is to determine whether or not we have to adjust how the traffic flow or the timing. Of the light. So we have taken that soft approach in terms of dealing with violations of the law in terms of the traffic light.
Yes.
But we want the motoring public to adhere to the law and comply. We also want the motor vehicles to come as close as possible to the stop line so they can activate the sensors to ensure that the lights function properly. The traffic light carries 3 different lights. You will have what you refer to as the amber lights. the green lights, and then you'll have the red lights. Now the amber light means to stop. All right, the green light means to go, and the red means to stop. All right. Once you're approaching the stop line and the light begins to change, it will change from green, then to amber, and then to red. Now the amber comes on. Once the amber comes on, the driver must be in a preparatory stage to stop the vehicle. So once you see the amber come on, you can stop the vehicle. Also, the flashing amber means that the driver can proceed. And when we say proceed past the stop line or the signal poles, all right, or the signals. But you need to proceed with caution once the lights are flashing amber.
Okay. A question I would like to ask, I'm assuming there are probably drivers who are listening to us, right? You mentioned in the initial stage when you started in terms of the sensor location. Where are these sensor locations located that would of course trigger a change in the light, so that drivers will know, well, I need to be at this certain point close to the traffic light in order to stop it?
The sensors are located in the road surface. They are underneath the road surface.
On the road surface.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so is there anything that indicating that how close a driver should be, or there's a marking on the road or anything that will indicate that?
Yes, that is the stop line.
The stop line, that white stop line?
Yes, that white line is referred to as the stop line. So the closer you get to the stop line, it's easier for the sensors to activate.
All right. Is there a time factor now for the testing phase that is going through, or is it, are we doing it for a month, 2 months, and something in the testing phase that is going through?
Well, we haven't had a time as to when it would cut off, when the testing phase would end, because we are still doing tests and so on to see what adjustment need to be made. So I guess when all those factors are put into place, then we would then we will ensure that that we inform the general public that the testing phase are over.
In the initial stages of the testing, when you started, what are some of the concerns that the RGB have been receiving?
Well, one of the concerns is that the delay time on the lights. Some of them you will see probably change a little bit too fast. Yeah. So it's just a matter of adjusting the timing and so on.
All right, and that'll be done in the soonest, I'm assuming. So once the phase of testing has completed and the data comes in, of course there are people taking the data and so forth, taking notice of that, then the adjustments will be made.
Yes, people are taking those concerns.
All right, folks, we drew for a break. Let's take a break. We're coming right back. Stay with us, folks. It's Classic Radio.
Hey there, Grenada.
Chances to multiply your Playway winnings by adding Multi-X to your regular Playway bets to win up to 5 times more. Imagine winning as much as $1,200 instead of $240 with a $10 Playway bet by simply adding Multi-X. Place your Playway bets from $1 to $10 or in increments on your favorite Playway symbols or numbers. Then add the Multi-X option at the same value to win 2 times, 3 times, 5 times more, or free plays. With Multi-X, you must bet the same amount wagered on your regular Playway bets for your winnings to be multiplied. Grenadians, value your dreams and win your way as much as 5 times more with Multi-X added to Playway, and watch your money grow. Must be 18 years or older to play. NLA, making your dreams come true.
Records at the traffic department shows that a total of 1,447 accidents were reported for the year 2012, which includes 3 road fatalities. 2,946 accidents were reported for the year 2022, which includes 8 road fatalities. This is a significant increase of 104%. This is alarming. When a family tragically loses a loved one, does it matter whether by means of a gun or a motor vehicle? To avoid accidents, drivers and pedestrians alike must exercise extreme caution when using the road.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers, to The Point for today, Thursday, the 2nd of November. And we have the traffic department with us this morning, and we have Inspector Ryan Smith with us this morning, and Corporal Troy Paul. We started our conversation this morning. We spoke about the road safety practices, and we want to get into pedestrian and drivers. Let's get some information from your officers in terms of, pedestrian and drivers. What kind of information you want to share with us relating to that this morning, which would also lead up to the road safety in general?
Yes. So we have seen from the traffic department misuse of especially pedestrian crossings or persons using the road, more so pedestrians, and also some of the drivers. And we're seeing a lot of habits and bad practices from pedestrians as they use the road network. I don't want to cut you away,
but you're still thinking that individuals still not understanding the use of pedestrians in Grenada?
Well, based on what I'm seeing, I believe so. And definitely we will continue to pound the proper use of pedestrian crossing for both drivers and pedestrians, because a lot of persons, I don't believe that they understand. And going forward, we have what we call a community project, and one of these from the traffic department is to start with this the use of pedestrian crossing and road safety in our schools. That is how important it is to us, because we know a lot of our students use the road network, especially in the town of St. George's, and even those schools out of the town. But we must start somewhere, and we believe the best place to do that is in the schools. Start with the younger ones, because once they pick up those habits, it will stay with them for a lifetime. And so therefore we're starting there to see how best we can change that culture of persons using the road network, especially using pedestrian crossing.
Because it's important, because you notice from time to time, there's been public service announcement. If folks who are watching the television now will notice one has been shown there right now, and this has been showing for eons.
Yes.
You understand? And sometimes I still see pedestrians not taking the due care and attention when they're crossing the pedestrian, not even alerting drivers that I want to cross. And sometimes drivers, like myself being a driver also, sometimes we see drivers not even wanting to stop to allow individuals to cross, especially school zone areas and so forth. How is important it is, how concerning is it for the traffic department relating to that?
A big concern for us at the traffic department, and especially law enforcement. And as I've stated earlier on, that we have to start somewhere to get that message across and to get it strongly, to let persons know that we're serious about their safety, because some of the time, if they don't want to look out for their safety, we have an obligation as well, because it will come back to us as statistics, and we have to deal with it some way or the other. It may be through an accident or some report that has been made that we have to look at it. So that we cope by sharing those information, disseminating those information, lecturing and doing what we can to sensitize the public, so that we will have a reduction in those statistics and reports being made to the Royal Grenada Police Force or through the traffic department. So I want to start with pedestrians, because it's very important that we're seeing a lot of persons crossing the road and using the pedestrian crossing in any form, shape or manner, and we want this practice to cease. So firstly, what we want you to do when you intend to use a pedestrian crossing or cross the road from one side to the other, the first thing you must do as a pedestrian is to stop.
Yeah.
You stop and you observe your surrounding. You look left, you look right. Make sure that no vehicle is coming. You also listen, because sometimes we're a pedestrian crossing or you intend to cross, you may not be able to see vehicles from afar off. So you listen to ensure that nothing is coming. And once you satisfy yourself that you've done that due diligence by looking and listening, and nothing is coming, you cross briskly from one side to the other.
Okay.
However, if a vehicle is coming and you remain standing there, don't step out because you do not know the speed the vehicle is coming with. So that is the reason why you look and you listen. Yeah. So once you satisfy yourself again, you place your hand out to indicate to the driver that you intend to stop.
And make sure that you do make contact with the driver.
Make eye contact as well. So make sure that the driver sees you. And therefore we have what we call stop lines in the area of pedestrian crossing, that once that driver sees you, he's supposed to stop before that stop line. And once that is done, the driver comes to a complete stop.
All right.
You cross briskly from one side to the other. You see, because one of the reasons we want you to make sure that vehicle come to a complete stop, we have malfunctioning vehicles. Sometimes you might not be aware that maybe an emergency vehicle might be approaching, and that vehicle might be behind one that stopped for you and so forth. So you make sure that you check your surroundings before you cross properly. Right. And for the drivers now, we want you to, because most of our drivers are aware that where our pedestrian crossings are, because when you're going,
they are visible
very well, and most of the times they are accompanied with a sign letting you know that pedestrian crossing is ahead. And most of the times we see that, well, not most, when you're going for your license as a new driver, where all those pedestrian crossings are, you slow down, you do all the necessary hand signals, and you ensure that even if no one is crossing, you slow down to make sure that is safe to do so. And we see, as I stated earlier, once persons get their license, you see all these things out the door. So let us continue that practice, that even if no one is there, but the common practice that once you are approaching a pedestrian crossing, you slow down and you observe your surrounding as well. Because sometimes you have to look out for the younger ones. They may not know how to properly use the crossing, and you driving, sometimes some of them, they know that they've been taught that a pedestrian crossing is a safe place for them to walk across, but not knowing that they have to observe the surroundings. So some of them might, depending on where it is located, might just run from the sidewalk straight onto the crossing.
Yes.
And then we know what can happen. So you, as the driver as well, slow down. If you see persons in the area, slow down as well, and make sure that no one is intended to cross. And once you see persons standing there, be prepared to stop. And once you stop and you ensure that they cross. But pedestrians need to do what is expected of them as well.
All right. Interesting. Anything further on that, Inspector?
Yes, I just want to let the general public know that failing to obey a traffic light signal carry a ticket fine of $500 with a maximum fine of $2,000.
Okay.
So it is an expensive offense. So we want persons to be aware of that, because once we start to we relinquish ourselves of the soft approach, those would be the tickets that will be issued. So it's $500. It's a serious offense because of its nature in terms of the running the traffic light can always result in motor vehicle accidents being caused. So that is the severity of such offense. Hence, the fine is so hefty.
All right. I'm noticing the new traffic lights are also cameras installed. What are they?
Yes, they are functioning cameras that will be monitored daily.
All right.
Daily. Also, there are buttons on the traffic light poles that need to be activated in terms of being pressed by the pedestrian once that pedestrian wish to use that pedestrian carriageway.
All right. So I'm assuming when they press it will make the various indication that give them the permission to cross.
So, yes, once they press, the light will change. So then you will see once they press the button, a white man will appear.
Yes.
All right, and once white man appear,
I like your description of that.
Yes,
sir.
and then you go across and walk across to make it simple.
All right.
And walk across briskly. You shouldn't delay, but you should go across. You shouldn't run, but you should walk across as quickly as possible.
All right. As we move along this morning, we due for another break. Let's take it. And when we come back, we chat some more. We're also going to invite, of course, the listening and viewing public to chime in. We'll certainly give you an indication when we are ready for you folks indicate in terms of coming in and have you and ask the officers any question that you may have. We're coming right back.
It is important to know what your road signs and markings means. The zigzag lines means you should not park in the marked area. Parking is allowed inside the solid white lines on the edge of the road. Remember, look out for pedestrians. Pedestrians, be sure the vehicle comes to a complete stop before crossing. These tips can save your life. These tips can make our roads safer for all users. Be safe, be seen, be smart. A message from the Traffic Department of the Royal Grenada Police Force.
Wait to see my granddaughter.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, viewers. It's to the point for today, Thursday, the 2nd of November. We with the Traffic Department this morning. Before we entertain the calls from our listeners and viewers this morning, let's talk about vehicle safety. We know the utility season is coming up, and the people will be going, people will be going to different events and so forth. The safety of your vehicles, especially when they'll be left unattended. What information you would like to share about that to the listening audience and viewing audience this morning?
Yes, it is very important, as you've mentioned during the Yuletide season, that persons take the opportunity to park their vehicle in any and everywhere once they get an available park. Most of the times, parking is provided by the host of the event, but we see persons want to take the closest or maybe a park that may be convenient to them in terms of quick access to a venue. But it is not always the safe and best practice to do, and we want persons to be mindful that if you have to park your vehicle in any area, there are certain things that you must take into consideration. For one, parking your vehicle in a well-lit area, and reasons so that if persons try to take away your vehicle, or vandalize or even break into your vehicle, the opportunity where there's lights will be the less likely in terms of someone seeing them performing that act. Because if you park it in an area that is secluded, dark, you create that big opportunity for that person to break into your vehicle. More so, the second one is leaving valuables in your vehicle, such as cell phones, laptop, bags, purses, and anything that might have significant value. Do not leave those things in your vehicle. You have to park your vehicle in secluded or areas that are dark, or areas that are, as we normally say, dismal, as old people would say, where there's no one around. Mm-hmm. You're creating opportunity for thieves to break into your vehicle. And then you have to come and make a report that things were stolen, your vehicle was vandalized, etc. Thirdly, also do not leave keys in your ignition or leaving your ignition running while you leave your vehicle to maybe running to a shop, a store. We're seeing it happen from time to time. And then you create that big opportunity of a person with a key in the ignition to just drive away. and depending on where it parked, you may not have any witness or witnesses.
All right.
And then you have to come to make a report that your vehicle was stolen. How the vehicle was stolen, I left the keys in it. Be mindful also that for the persons who have a little finances, that you can invest in a vehicle alarm or
some kind of security system.
Security device, such as it also have the immobilizing device.
Yes.
You could have personally, or also you have a steering lock to lock the steering wheel. And you have a key and so forth. So persons would not have that option of going with your vehicle whether or not breaking into it, because you know some of the unlocking or locking mechanism of certain vehicles are easier to access through whatever means, and persons take the opportunity to go with those vehicles, and a lot of persons are leaving their scooters and so forth in any area. We know it's it's smaller than the regular vehicle, and they park it in all places to get to any venue or to get to places, and when they come back, the scooter missing. So one of the ways you can do so, have that alarm, maybe an alarm or a locking device mechanism on it, and because those are one of the devices that can be easily picked up and put in a van and so forth. Some sort of tracking device as well on it, because we're seeing a lot of scooters have been reports, stolen scooters, missing scooter, and it is a vehicle that can be easy tampered with. Sometimes they take out the number plate, they transfer parts of one to another, and when you start to investigate, and they take out the number plate as well. And when you start investigation, you have to do a thorough investigation, checking down to the chassis number of that vehicle to get back that vehicle. And sometimes it will become difficult for law enforcement, because then we'll have to check every scooter that we meet, and we don't want to. That is not a good practice, because persons think that you're targeting one set of drivers along the road. Right. So it is our responsibility as drivers to ensure that when we park our vehicles, how we live it, the manner in which we live it, leaving valuables in our vehicles can send the wrong message to thieves and so forth, that it's easy target to go with our vehicle to van, or even persons vandalizing our vehicles, because sometimes whatever profession that you may be in, there are other persons who spirit do not give with yours as want of words, and they will maybe receive back where persons throwing acid and keying persons' vehicles. So if you park your vehicle in well lit areas, that would be a deterrence for person wanting to commit those crimes or those acts against person's vehicle and property.
All right. I want to talk a wee bit here. We spoke a whole lot about the security aspects and of course the security and safety aspect of driving. Let's talk a wee bit about concerns, especially from drivers and road users. Obstruction is becoming a big problem in Grenada in terms of where individuals are parking their vehicles and so forth. How concerned is the traffic department related to that? Individuals parking on roadsides is becoming an issue in terms of the traffic obstruction and stuff like that. How big of a concern is that, and what kind of information would the traffic department like to give out to individuals who are doing that?
Well, it's a grave concern for the traffic department in terms of vehicular obstruction. Regulation 26(6) speaks about any vehicle who obstruction hinders the movement of the free flow of traffic commits an offense. Now, what the traffic department have embarked on, we have doubled our drive with the physical planning unit. All right, in terms of ensuring that when persons are constructing like business places and houses and so on, especially along the street, adequate parking and so on are provided. So this is the drive that we on. We are also ensuring that we take action when those offenses are committed. If you look along, you will see from the tongue of around the tongue of St. George's, you are seeing that derelict vehicles are being moved from the roadside and so on. So these are the steps that we are taking to ensure ensure that we alleviate as much obstruction as possible on our roads.
All right. It's just that it's becoming a problem. You're seeing that especially in the morning time in the fast commuting of traffic, individuals are parked, maybe they're parked to the close proximity of their homes and so forth, and it's becoming a problem.
Yes, especially during the rush hour.
The rush hour.
That's why we champion that when you construct a home, there must be a driveway available to ensure that the vehicle is parked off the road. So hence the reason why we partner with physical planning to ensure that those things do occur.
All right. I want to take some calls. We have 20 minutes left on today's program. Let's get some calls for you listeners and viewers. If you do have a question or two to ask the traffic department this morning of the Royal Grenada Police Force, our concern in this morning we're talking road safety practices, and so keep your question along that line, please. Let's go to for our first caller. Caller, good morning and welcome.
Yeah, good morning, GC, and morning to the officers. I want to say to the officer that said that somebody said, well, we shouldn't start talking so early. I think it's most appropriate. Because the last major activity we had on Tuesday should demonstrate that many people don't listen and pay attention to what is important. So I would say that you're right to start now. But also, sometimes I find the police give clues to people who could be caught, that they're going into operations. And sometimes you have to surprise those folks and them. In the past, we knew, almost all of us knew each other. Now, the society, we don't know each other. So, but the point I want to make essentially is related to Tuesday. The people on the east side, the East Coast, St. David's, Glenville, fared very unfavorably. The buses took, like for instance, I was on the bus stand for over 1 hour. When we finally get a bus, the driver said that he was stuck in Springs for almost an hour. There are people who have health conditions like me. It is problematic when you have to wait for so long. I'm asking the question because the driver said he thinks the problem was with the lights and also the fact that the police were trying to regulate also. Could you could I suggest that you folks do a postmortem and see how you could ease up the situation in a next activity like that? Thank you very much for your indulgence.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much. Respond to the caller, officers?
Definitely, sir. Thanks for your observation. Now we will definitely look into the matter to ensure that those occurrences do not reappear.
Let's entertain another caller. Caller, good morning. You're welcome.
Yes, good morning. Maybe it may sound unrelated, but I think it is related. What is the police position with regards to the noise syndrome, which is becoming worse and worse and worse in vehicles, motor vehicles on the Grenada Road? What is the position? Let me know. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
Well, the police position as it relates to noise pollution in terms of the vehicles on our road, in terms of music that are being emitted from the decks, Regulation 28 says that any noise that comes from a motor vehicle that causes annoyance to any person, so we are acting and in that area. Also, the Noise Pollution Act, Section 22, also deals with that as well. So these are the areas that we're going to approach the situation with. In terms of our inspection process, what is happening is even though that in terms of the muffler, the loud mufflers, you will see persons will take off the sensor. They will put on the sensor for the inspection process and then remove the sensor. You can see that is happening in motorcycles as well. And I think as an organization, where we have been failing is that of the follow-up issue. The enforcement in following up, because after the person pass the inspection, and this is an area that we are looking into to ensure that we curb those situations. So thank you, caller, for your observation.
Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, officers. My good friends as usual. Emil, I have a few points. I'm looking at vehicle parking, especially some of the area like Montu. And there's a law put in place for people who building houses or doing businesses, they have parking area for certain vehicle, leaving brand new vehicle by the road, and they're blocking a lot of roads. Second of all, I have a few questions. I'll do it fast. We're looking at the officers itself. You have a few officers, well, that they inspection, you talk about inspection. They have their glass black and their music higher than normal, some of them. And when I talked to one of them in Greenville at the time, I asked him, I said, we cannot have loud music and you have loud music? Oh, we have, you'll get up paperwork for that in the police is the police. You know? These are the things that, I have to say, is the law enough for everybody? You understand? Second of all, I look at the crossing. We talk about the crossing. Really and truly, I normally drive almost every day, and you look at some of the truth, especially that will be in Canteen. The children naturally run across the road. They do that for spike. They malls across the road. They don't care about vehicle, how they do it. So, thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your contribution this morning. Any response to the caller's comments, mate?
Yes, I will start with the second question, which well, not much of a question, but in relation to the children using the pedestrian crossing or running up in the manner in which they use the pedestrian crossing. As I've mentioned earlier on, as I said, we're starting our programs with the school children, and definitely some of the schools in the Tantin area, one of some of the schools that are listed to have those engagement with the students. So once that is done, I trust that we will definitely see some form of proper usage of pedestrian crossing from those students, and we know once students gain those knowledge, will definitely, normally they bring those information home to their parents, and hopefully that we see proper usage from both students and parents or adults using the pedestrian crossing going forward in the future. But thank you very much for your observation as well, Colin.
All right, we do have another caller. Caller, good morning, you're welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Telesford. Greetings. I trust that your officers can hear me. Greetings to them too. I have a couple of observations here. Much has been said there about the introduction of the traffic lights. I'm happy to hear that we're advancing with traffic lights and otherwise. I want to focus on the provisions made for the visually impaired. Nothing has been said about it. I heard about a white man coming on and so on so you can cross the road, but that is if you can see. But according to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities, provisions are to be made by the state parties to guarantee the accessibility of these people equally. Questions? Can you tell me, gentlemen, what provisions have been made, whether it be with echo boards, sound alarms, and otherwise, what has been done in your system recently established to make it easy, more accessible for people with visual impairment, trained in mobility that can move about and do the do for themselves, so that they too can enjoy the benefits of your traffic lights? The other question, but this one is the key. Can you tell me, gentlemen, can you direct me and others, all the population, what part of the traffic ordinance, the laws of this here country, that speaks to, explains the operations, functions, and use or usage of traffic lights and pedestrian crossings? Can you refer me to that so I, can check it out myself for what it's worth? Thank you very much. Have a nice day, will you?
Thank you, caller. Have a great day yourself.
In terms of the traffic light, the road traffic light regulations, SRO 1 of 1997, you can access that. Also, you can find it also in chapter 289A of the Road Traffic Act.
All right. Guess I would answer the caller's question. Let's go to another caller. Caller, you're welcome. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Not bad. Go right ahead with your contribution, please.
Right. Let me first take time to congratulate the traffic department on educating the people, because I think we need a lot more of that. education when it comes in terms of traffic violations and traffic rules and what the do's and don'ts and everything. We Grenadians, sometimes we tend to only point out the flaws and not commend the good. So I want to first commend the good of them taking the opportunity to educate the people on what they should do or should not do. And now let me get to my concern. My concern is the recent implementation of the traffic lights, especially the one sitting on the top of Canash Hill. Now, there always was a traffic warden there. The issue I have with that traffic light is that when the light, each direction, when the light goes to red, it doesn't allow much vehicle to pass before it changes back. Now, what I've seen in recent response is that when the emergency services vehicles approaching the traffic light, there's no one there to assist in clearing the traffic for the emergency vehicles coming. The last time the ambulance had to come through, and they were sitting in the traffic from on the top of Market Hill until they could get in front of the bank before a civilian went on that point to help clear the traffic. And some people, the issue is that some people may create accidents without somebody there in authority to help clear the traffic, because some civilians hearing the ambulance behind them do not wait. They will try to run the light in order to give clearance for the emergency vehicle, not thinking about the oncoming vehicle that the other side may be on green and some oncoming vehicle may be coming. So my suggestion is, if it is possible that they could always have somebody at that point, somebody in authority, to assist with clearing the traffic when emergency vehicle has to access the hospital services.
Thank you, caller. Thank you so much for your contribution this morning. Any response to the caller's comment?
Well, first of all, I would like to say thank you, caller, for your observation. It is something that we ourselves have observed, and presently that it's being worked on.
Caller, good morning. Welcome. Caller, good morning.
Mr. Telesford.
Yes, go right ahead, please.
My question was not answered. Thank you very much.
He said that
yes, in terms of reservation being made for the physically challenged, we haven't have any information of such. We haven't have any echo boards, so that is something that we will take into consideration to ensure that we can ensure that we put things in place to assist the physically challenged.
We do have another caller. Caller, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Telesford, and good morning to you again. The last caller that spoke concerning the lights on Canash Hill.
Caller, before you continue, please, would you lower your radio or television in the background, please?
Sure.
Yes, go right ahead, please.
I was saying the last caller that spoke concerning the traffic light on Canash Hill made some good observation. What I think should happen, at no time should vehicle coming from Church Street make a right onto Canash Hill. That should be only left for the ambulance in a case of emergency. When you come from St. George's, you go straight down to Young Street. Once you come from the Church Street, you go down to Young Street. No vehicle should make a right to go down into the town. That's my observation.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your contribution this morning. Any agreement with the caller on the suggestion that he made, if it's something that could be looked into?
Yeah, well, that's a brilliant observation. So it's something that we'll definitely look into. So, caller, once again, we just want to thank you for your contribution.
And we do have 5 minutes left on the show. Good morning to you, caller. Welcome. Caller, good morning. Is not paying attention at 435-2041. We still can accommodate a couple of your questions. Those of you via our social media platforms, if you do have a question or two, you can also post it, and I'll let the officers about it. Caller, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Everybody there, the police and Mr. What is his name? Telesford. What I want to ask the police, when they go do something about the people who parking on sidewalks, and people sometimes you're trying to pass, and especially Ghanaians Belmont Road, they're parking on the sidewalks, and people have to walk in the road. Also, I see they have by Sugar Mill, they have on one side by the restaurant, no parking, and you're seeing vehicles parked there. When do we go see police going around charging people for doing them things? I would like to see plain clothes police going around like before, with people that they could charge people for doing these wrong things. Because parking on sidewalk and parking around corners, people now don't care. Like police don't tell them nothing. I see police watching myself, and they're looking at them and they won't tell them nothing about it. I would like something happening now in the police force, please. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your contribution also. I'm not sure if you're able to respond to the caller. Given the area that I'm concerned, sidewalks in Belmont. I'm not sure. Maybe probably a little bit of a mistake from the caller there. Anyway, let's entertain another caller before we move on. Caller, good morning. We have approximately 2 minutes left on the show. Good morning to you, caller.
Hello, good morning. I'm concerned about the sidewalks. The people that are selling on the sidewalks. I would like to know what the police is doing about that, because it's a real humbug to people. So I would like to know what they're doing so people can walk the sidewalks there. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. We just have approximately 2 minutes left. I'm not sure if you want to respond to the caller, but this caller may be our final caller for the morning. We're going to just take some closing comments from both officers and wrap. Any comments about the caller pertaining to the sidewalks? I know it's not really on our conversation, level this morning, but if any response could be thrown out.
Well, in terms of the issue of the sidewalk is something that we'll definitely look into to ensure that that the caller concerns are being looked into. But I just want to thank you, Didi, again for hosting us this morning so that we can deliver such relevant and pertinent information to the general public in order that everyone can enjoy a safe season.
All right. Corporal?
Yes, I just want to implore on both drivers and pedestrians alike that when we use our road network, we must do so with caution and care. Most of our drivers, please, as we stated to you, before you leave home, check your vehicles. Make sure that it is roadworthy. While you're driving, those bad practices and habits, such as using mobile device, consuming alcohol or being under the influence of alcohol or drugs, and if you're driving at night, make sure that your lights are in good working condition, and our responsibility as the traffic department to make sure that our roads safe for all road users. And as we said earlier on, we will be out in our numbers, checks, motorcycle patrol, foot patrols, and doing radar checks and all the other checks as we heightened for the Yuletide operation. So expect us to be out there, and this is our way of fulfilling our obligation as law enforcement and from the traffic department, and ensuring that our roads are safe for all road users. And as I always say to everybody, let us make sure that we do our part, because just as I always say, tourism is everybody's business. I believe traffic is everybody's business as well. Or road safety is everybody's business.
All right. Thank you both officers for being here this morning, and I certainly do appreciate, of course, you being here and throwing out information that you did to the viewing and listening public. And so as the season draws closer, I'm assuming we will have another, of course, repeat of this. So just to continue informing road users the best road practices. Thank you once again. Hey, folks, that's how we take a wrap for today's program. Thanks all who contributed some way or the other, whether by your comments you called in. Thank you so much for being part of To The Point for today. Have yourself a good one. That's where we say goodbye for this edition of To The Point.